Our speed debates, rules are very simple. We've got 2 teams. Each team is going to have 4 people. I get to decide who's affirmative and who's negative, which means some people are going to be talking about things that they don't necessarily want to talk about, and that's okay. The affirmative is going to get to speak first, then our affirmative gets to rebut, our negative gets to rebut, and then you all get to vote on who wins. And at the end of the speed debates, we tally it all up, and we decide who wins. Okay? Simple? Thumbs up? Everybody good? Yes. Awesome. So with that, let's do some introductions. When I call your name, come on up. You can say a little sentence or so about yourself. And then, pick a seat. So the first person I'm going to call to the stage, since he's sitting right here, see if our mic works, is Dan Kuykendall. Give it up.
Hello. For those that don't know, I was the founder and CTO of NT Objectives. Now I'm part of Rapid7, where we're hooking everything up together with Metasploit and Expos and having fun.
Sweet. All right. Next person up here is Ben Hughes. Come on up.
Hello, I'm Ben. I'm a haircare specialist who works at Etsy.
All right. Thank you. Next up on our panel is Benkem Tejani. Give it up.
Benkem Tejani. I'm a senior manager for application security at Under Armour.
Sweet. Next up is the one, the only Jack Daniel.
I'm Jack.
I'll let you keep that one. All right. Next up is Boyd Hemphill.
Hi, I'm Boyd Hemphill. I'm a technology evangelist at Stack Engine, and I've been sober for, well, most of my life.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to lower the average IQ on this side.
No worries. Random selection. All right. Your master of ceremonies for the day, the chair of LASCON this year, Mr. James Wickett.
Hey, howdy.
All right. Next up, Dan Cornell.
Dan Cornell, I'm one of the founders of the CTO of Denner Group, and I think I'm the only panelist who brought my own koozie.
And then last but not least, I'm not seeing it. There he is. Chris Poland.
Howdy, y'all. I work for a mega vendor who I won't name. This is my first time at LASCON, and I'm a last-minute substitute, so I'll try to do my best.
Keep the mic. You'll need it. Keep the mic. All right. So now that we've got the introductions out of the way, it's time to get to our first debate. Position number 1. Developers will still need to be concerned about cross-site scripting vulnerabilities in 5 years. Our affirmative team over here, our negative team over here. Where's my timekeeper? Right here. My timekeeper, Mr. David Hughes, I suggested they hold a glass of water and sit in front of whoever's speaking at the moment, and when time's up, splash them in the face, but it got vetoed. So unfortunately, David's just going to make a loud noise when time is
Just use beer instead.
So 2 minutes on the clock. Affirmative. Who's going to speak first? We ready? All right. 2 minutes, and then you can pass the mic however you want.
Cross-site scripting. You know, it's one of those things. We've had it in our life pretty long time. I mean, you look back 5 years ago, what was on OWASP top 10? Anybody? Cross-site scripting. Let's go back 10 years. What do we got? Yeah. 3, 1, okay. Back to 3. Just guessing. I mean, Jack Jack did sort of prepare us earlier and said that like problems that we had in the 60s, like we're still having today. I'm guessing, another 5 years isn't going to stop cross-site scripting.
Let's look at all those older problems we had that we fixed, such as sharing credentials, no. Buffer overflows, no. Like everything else in security that we haven't solved, I'm pretty confident cross-site scripting will be the one we get right, because we don't have multiple websites, they're not getting more complicated. OAuth has stopped existing. Web frameworks are getting more opinionated, but not necessarily better. They're just getting more names, at least I'm finding in the Bay Area, and jQuery is newer, and Angular, etc. So I'm confident that'll be fixed. That'll be the one we fixed with, yeah, definitely that one.
It's obvious that developers are still going to need to be worried about cross-site scripting in 5 years because if we fixed any problems, then we couldn't have cool conferences like this. So it's really unthinkable.
Yeah, and how much time we got left here? It's not going to get fixed. 10 seconds?
10 seconds.
No, we'll still be fighting this in 5 years.
Boom, drop the mic. All right, negative, 2 minutes on the clock. Who's starting?
No, actually, I think it's safe to say that developers won't need to be concerned about cross-site scripting in 5 years, because we will find even dumber shit for them to ignore. I don't think we're going to have to worry about it because of the robot uprising. There's not going to be any humans to do stupid shit.
I think it's not going to be a concern anymore because James at Signal Sciences is going to invent some great technology to prevent any exploits. And Dan is going to use ThreadFix to make sure we can all track it and get rid of them early in the SDLC.
Let's explore the word care for a minute. Do developers really care about cross-site scripting, or do they just deal with it? Actually, I don't think they will care in 5 years because most of those things will be built into a CI pipeline, so they won't have to care. And what we'll be doing is worrying about that one engineer who wants to break things, and they'll be the one that cares. Will they be a developer? Probably not. They'll probably be a security engineer. I did say that out loud.
All right, good. Drop the mic. Audience?
Well, do we need a rebuttal?
Oh, yeah. Would you like?
Well, I mean,
I'm not, he
I
dropped,
don't really know if we need a rebuttal.
James, he dropped the mic. The game is over.
Okay, yeah. Bankum, you have quite impeccable logic. Can't really argue with that part. But I will persist to say that it will continue to have a problem.
Yeah, I think the robot uprising will be halted by a cross-site scripting attack.
We'll be thanking cross-site scripting for existing when those robots come to eat our heads.
This is just the first question, guys.
Cross-site scripting is the 4-year lifespan of the simulants of the robot uprising. Our Blade Runner future will be saved by cross-site scripting. You'll be thanking us, not just for conferences, but for the robots not killing every one of us.
All right, time's up. Negative, you get one more shot.
I believe that the team on the other side of the stage has completely missed the point. The question was, will they care, not will there be cross-site scripting? Because their arguments are weak, they tried to change the question. The question is, will developers care? The answer is no.
Why would they start 5 years from now?
Because of the robot uprising.
Case rested.
All right, case closed. Audience, you get to vote. If you think that the affirmative team had the best debate, give it up. It's going to be a long hour, guys. If you guys think that the negative team did better, give it up. All right. We have a point for the negative team. Excellent job, guys. Excellent job. Okay.
Have to argue for developers.
All right. So, next topic. Continuous deployment is the best model for the security of web applications. This time we have you guys on the negative and you guys on the affirmative. You guys have 2 minutes. Who's going to start?
So continuous deployment gives us the opportunity to address web application security early in the software development lifecycle and as quickly and rapidly as possible throughout the stage of building our software. So from the day we start the idea to the day we deploy code, we can bake in security and security tests and automation throughout the cycle.
The web application space is all about fighting forward. Continuous delivery allows the rapid identification of problems and fighting forward to solve them. Continuous delivery will become a great security model for the future.
So as the resident optimist, the thing that I like about the continuous deployment model is that once you start down that path, one of the things you have to fix is your regression and backups of your friend, and the faster you can recover from screwing up, the more secure you can be. And so even with a negative spin, I think it's absolutely true that moving to that model gives us the tools to recover quickly and push patches quickly. And then when Microsoft sends us crappy patches, we can unwind. When Ubuntu or whoever sends us crappy patches, we can unwind. When the kernel plugs in, we can unwind it, move forward. We can balance security and productivity.
You have 30 seconds.
What they said.
All right. You guys done? Okay, go. All right. Negative.
As a former model, I am the best model for the security industry. I'm way better than continuous anything.
Wow.
All this DevOps nonsense is a fad. I think if you guys, if we're looking back at this in a couple years, I think we're going to see the common criteria for websites make a big resurgence. And I just don't see how you're going to have time to do all that Orange Book stuff if you're trying all this continuous deployment. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, the continuous deployment is useful, but if it just allows you to continually deliver bad code quickly, I don't see how it solves the problem.
I think that one of the main problems that we haven't thought about here is that who's really doing continuous deployment? How many people in here would say they're doing that? Yeah, so this is a problem. Web app security doesn't just hit the 3 unicorns, the 1% of the 1%. It hits everybody. So my thought is it can't be the solution because no one's using it.
You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, we're dropping the mic.
All right.
But we're respectful of the microphone, so we're just going to hold it safely.
Affirmative team. You get 1 minute for rebuttal. They're waving the white flag right now.
Not yet. You made a good argument. I think continuous deployment is going to take off, and while James believes that not enough people are using it, I truly believe the rugged movement is going to capitalize on that and create buy-in from lots of different companies that are not using continuous deployment today.
While nobody today is currently using continuous deployment, except the 3 unicorns in the room, nobody is really secure either, so I believe James's argument is quite specious.
And as a Gauntlet fan and user, I'm very happy to see that those technologies are going to help us with continuous deployment.
All right. Negative team.
So it is clear, and we can kind of jump off of James' starting point on who's using it. It is clear PCI is the best model for security.
Thanks for throwing us the win there.
No, sir. No, I was not going that way. No.
There are children watching this.
Those of you lucky enough to see my talk will fondly remember where I pointed out that Adobe are trying to do secure pipeline CI stuff. We're very aware how secure Adobe are. I think that says it all. You want the security practices of Adobe, is what you're saying. That's your argument. We should do what Adobe do, then we'll be secure. Based on all the proven security wins of Adobe every few months when they release a new update for more O-Day. Thanks.
Time.
How much did Adobe pay for that spot, by the way?
3 flat.
All right. Okay, so if you thought that the affirmative team won the debate, give it up. If you thought that the negative team won the debate.
Who knew negativity was big in the industry?
All right. Good job, guys. Good job. Let's keep this moving. Position number 3. Docker is more secure.
This is all based on my slides.
You guys have the affirmative on this one. You got 2 minutes.
I just did 45 minutes on this. What are you on about? You're gonna miss my talk. This is on you, not me.
Docker.
Like the slides are up. All right. More secure than what? Like if you run shitty code on bare metal versus you run shitty code in a container, guess what's still shitty? It's your code. Like just because it's run by a Bay Area startup doesn't make your code better. Like, oh wait. Yeah, so like it's as secure as other shitty things. It runs on Linux, and Linux is secure. And you can run it with GR security, which is more secure than anything else you're running. So you're going to trust Zen. You're going to trust VMware. You have more money than security. You're going to trust AWS, which is basically outsourcing your security to some random people in Seattle, which doesn't make you more secure. It just makes it someone's rainy problem.
I'll remind you that you are the affirmative on this one.
I don't. Someone give me a drink.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, drinks come in containers, which surprisingly hold things very nicely. And they keep those things separated from the other things. Now, is it more secure than like what the question's kind of or the statement's kind of ambiguous, but it's like.
Whose fault is that, James?
I might have wrote that one. I was hoping to get okay. But think about this. Docker requires you to take a disciplined approach to how you're building your infrastructure. Is that going to be more secure than kind of like slapping stuff on a wiki or running some crazy bash scripts and logging into stuff and like, oh yeah, cool thing about Docker is you probably don't have SSH on it. You probably don't have a bunch of other stuff that you have inside your system.
All right.
Was that like
okay?
Time. That's
That's our
time.
official time.
I was like, well, I thought that was a good point.
Can I use your laptop for a second as a prop?
No. All right. Good.
I won't damage
Yeah.
it. So, as James said, Docker, things come in containers, like drinks, but containers have holes,
no.
right? And so, because containers have holes and openings, that's a challenge, and that's why they're still not more secure.
Docker was written by developers for developers. So,
This is an ad hominem. It must be not.
so I have 3 words for you. Docker run -- privileged.
We had this argument with virtualization. We had this argument with cloud. We're having it with containerization. Each of these technologies has allowed us to make the same mistakes plus new ones in record time at record scale.
difference between Docker and not Docker is I can either hand you an atom bomb or I can give it to you in a container.
And I would say, please put that in a container. Don't just give me that. Put it in something.
I could wrap it nicely for you.
That drop the mic
Was that it? You guys are.
container.
Plus what Ben said.
All right, affirmative team.
Okay, so Boyd, please don't do that. Let's see, Jack, yes, okay. And let's see, yeah, I do want stuff in containers, not atom bombs just sitting out there.
So most software is written by developers. That's how it works.
No, I got more.
Because it was written by a developer.
So you could run it with minus privilege. So don't do that. Like, don't run everything as root. That works on bare metal. Like, don't run stuff badly. Is your argument why Docker is not secure? Like, you can give it bad options and it will do bad things. Yeah. Same with a hammer. We're done.
So,
No, they're negative. It's good.
man, they're
Mine's
desperate.
negative.
Yeah, they're feeling the pressure. All right. So, I won't go Docker run -- privileged. I will instead say Docker run -- entry point. So I've just deleted the host root file system. And yes, I can do that. But on Linux, I can secure that. I can give users different privileges. Anybody who runs Docker run can do that. Anybody. You can run a Docker container. You can delete the root file system or any other fun thing you have a good idea.
And as far as developers and software, everyone in this room has run into this person. I'm not a developer, I just do web stuff.
All right, good job, good job. Yeah. Yeah.
Go team us.
All right. So before we vote on who won, everybody take a drink. Yeah. Should we do a chug? It wasn't part of the rules, but okay. All right. So audience vote. If you guys thought that the affirmative team won the debate, give it up. All right. Pretty good. If you guys thought the negative team won the debate, give it up. All right. I think the affirmative team won that one. We give it to you guys. All right.
I think we just saw Dr. Bias there.
All right. 2-1. Position number 4. Web application firewalls are effective application security tools. We have our affirmative team. Web application firewalls are effective security tools. Who would like to start this one? Chris, it seems like you're...
It's
Benedict Manico showed last year that you actually can
so
switch teams.
they are tools, right? And all tools can be used as tools or weapons. Having been in the traditional firewall business not that many years ago, people like to make fun of them, and I say, as with traditional firewalls, with web application firewalls, you can make fun of them as soon as you deploy one properly.
I got nothing.
So the a less flippant answer is that it is a valuable tool used properly. If you think throwing a WAF in front of your website makes you safe, it makes you slow and insecure. If you create specific rules for specific problems to buy yourself time, to do what needs to be done, or to mitigate a problem, they work fantastically. Our problem is that's not the way most people use them. They come in some box that also does packet filtering or next-gen firewall, and they click the box and they say, I'm safe, and so they use it wrong. So if you use them right, people like the intelligent audience we have here understands the specific point solutions that WAFs can provide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that application firewalls, forget about web application firewalls, lost the whatever back in the early 90s, right? Checkpoint beat the hell out of Raptors and all that stuff. However, they're coming back, and it's going to win this time. That's my argument. But just the web. Anything else, Jack?
All right. Negative team, your rebuttal, please.
I think Jack really did most of our work for us. He said all you've got to do is thoughtfully deploy it correctly, configured right, maintain it. Has anybody ever seen one of those? Therefore, not effective.
If you could configure it correctly in the first place, would you need it in the first place? Because you could probably just write a decent web app. Like I'm not good enough to web, so can I put this thing in front of my web so it's safer? But then I have to configure it to be good enough at web. Doesn't seem the strongest argument.
It's a 2 mic drop is what it is.
Yeah, this is pretty simple. As Dan said, the WAF is so difficult to get right, and it only works against traditional web apps. As we're moving forward and we have more RESTful interfaces, they start to fall apart. They don't deal with JSON. They don't deal with what you're dealing with. So if they can't keep up with the development models, they're ineffective out of the box.
All right.
I mean, just look where did the web app firewalls come from, right? They came from network vendors primarily, you know, and they were trying to kind of come in from the wrong angle to solve a problem kind of the wrong way.
You know, any vendors might have a better solution. No?
I will not promote on this because there's still more questions coming. So,
all right. Affirmative team, your rebuttal, please.
So we know that we're not very good at taking vulnerabilities out of web applications. So at least WAFs will buy us a little bit of time on that side of things. And the only thing else, and that's from the outside in, right? So protecting the applications themselves, but they're also good from the inside out to protect against users. So they have their place. They're not the panacea that everybody, that this question seems to imply they are, but they do have some effectiveness.
There's another value to firewalls that we haven't talked about, web app and others, which is that they're a great inspection point for traffic. And since people are going to write crappy code, it lets us know what went wrong because web developers don't log for shit. And so we have to afterthought our detections.
To amplify that, Ben said decent web app.
All right. Negative, your rebuttal.
okay, who in the audience has a web app firewall deployed right now? Okay, yeah. Do you have a lot of friends in your organization? How many of them have like an actual defensive like blocking type mode? Okay, one, two. Okay, yeah. So I mean, I don't know how you judge effectiveness, but I have some ideas.
Whoever said, yeah, they do buy you some time, I believe that's called latency.
Can
rebut the rebuttal.
No.
That's
All
not
right.
how this game works.
So, if you thought that the affirmative team won the debate, give it up. That sounded like a bit of a pity clap to me. If you thought that the negative team won the debate, give it up.
Gallant.
All right. Current score, 3-1. Number 5. I love this one. It's ethically acceptable to accept or transfer the risk of a security breach rather than to secure your code. Congratulations, you guys are the affirmative here.
Heck yeah, it is. I mean, okay, maybe not in all instances, but that's not what the question's asking. You know, it is really great. Like, if you're a really small team and you got this really big security problem, but you're really trying to sell to customers, like, you should totally just accept the risk. I think that is correct, and you really want to like increase your user base first before fixing the problem.
Is blaming Oracle acceptable in this? Can you just, can I just say Oracle and be done? Also, lawyers exist, and they're generally more right than security people. They have more money in jail.
So, we do this all the time in our daily lives. You have auto insurance, so that if you are a bad driver and you crash into somebody, somebody else will pay the hefty bill. We do this in our daily lives everywhere else. It is okay to do it in software security.
I would argue that it's not just ethically all right, I think it's required to transfer or accept risk. No, because otherwise, can you imagine the impact on short-term revenues? That'd be horrible.
Looks like they're done.
All right.
I think they're done.
Stick a fork in them, right? All right.
So Dan brings up a great point about doing this in our daily lives, and we actually see this, right? What they're arguing is that, for instance, VW, puts out a TDI, and they should just transfer the risk of that to all their customers or say, screw you, go pass emissions test yourselves. No, as a society, we have agreed that they're responsible for that defect that they've introduced into their product that they've given to their customers, and they need to take the responsibility and accountability to fix that, just like software vendors do with their breaches and their poor code.
So let's extend that insurance metaphor for a second. So I can drive like an asshole and never have to pay for anything. So I think it's that actually there's a cost to it as well. You're not just transferring risk, you're transferring cost. So effectively, arguing the other side is arguing for socialism. So nice what? Well done.
So I would just like to quote our morning's keynote speaker, Pete Chesluck, quoting John Vincent saying that, it's really all about giving a shit about your job. Kind of holistically. So yeah, I'll just get my hippie on and leave it at that.
I want to point to the fact that we're talking about breaches here. We're not talking about accepting vulnerabilities and we're accepting the time to fix a problem. This is the fan and the feces have met at high speed, and you have to own that. And ask T-Mobile about Experian, right? Do they get credit monitoring? How does that work, right? It's no. You can try. It's not going to work. I think that it's just a challenge. You can accept risk, but when it comes down to a breach, you own it. And if you try to shirk that, as a business model, it doesn't work that well. Some people get away with it, some don't. But ethically, you own the breach, and the people that own it tend to do the best.
All right. Affirmative team.
Jack, when it comes to a breach, you don't necessarily own it. The poor chump who's there when the breach happens owns it.
Like, I'm not sure VW were breached. They just kind of like lied to you about emissions, which is what America is built on. So, your argument is un-American. We're in Texas. Good luck.
Says the Englishman from San Francisco.
You know, we, and I think it's a really good point. Like, we do value liberty. I think, you know, I really don't think we're socialist at all over here. I mean, I can't believe they were even saying that. Because really, we realize individual responsibility. I love signing those EULAs, and I'm like reading them all the way down. I'm like, boom, like I know that I am the one that's ultimately liable for this. So, great.
All right. Negative. Your rebuttal.
We don't have to have anything. I think we won anyway. It's over.
Proud to be an American.
So when you pass the buck, there's an interest charge. And the more hands that buck passes through, the more the cost is going to rise. So each time you pass that security breach down the line, it got more expensive to fix in that moment, and it got more expensive to fix down the line when you actually have to deal with it.
That's still America, baby.
And our opposition talks about insurance. The part of the insurance is that you pay more when you don't fix it. So that's part of the structure. If you're a bad driver, your insurance rates go up because you're accepting that, and that's part of the structure.
I do want to comment on the opposing team's reference to liberty and freedom. They do have the right to be wrong.
All right. If you guys thought that the affirmative team had the best argument, give it up. America, red, white, and blue, stars and stripes. No? Okay. If you guys thought the negative team had the best argument, give it up. Bunch of communists. Sheesh. All right. The good news is it is now 3-2. So, position number 6. When forced to choose, static analysis of code will be more beneficial than dynamic scanning of an application. You guys are on the affirmative.
Come on, white noise. Really? Who's actually used dynamic scanning and gotten some real benefit out of it? And by the way, I work for a mega vendor who sells a dynamic scanning application. Yes.
Sort of in the continuous delivery spirit of our competitors over there, I would ask, where do you start? Many of us are just along the journey, so maybe it is we have to lint our code before we can think about anything dynamic. Maybe we just need to make that static scan before we can even begin to consider how to use a dynamic tool, because we must start from somewhere. So if you're not already a unicorn running your dynamic rainbow poops around, maybe static is the place to actually start.
With the key value here is the level of visibility. Static analysis is going to provide a level of visibility that the dynamic analyzer does not have into the source code itself. And using static analysis is going to give you that insight that a dynamic analysis tool isn't capable of providing. So it's going to find things that a dynamic analyzer will not, and it's going to find them and model them in ways that a dynamic analyzer could not ever do. And as Boyd pointed out, we can find those things earlier in the development lifecycle before we actually deploy the code to make it run.
And frankly, static analysis gets you out of the whole DevOps thing. You can control it at the development level, and that's a win.
And it requires talented professionals like this audience to do static analysis.
Yes. All right, negative team, your response, please.
Clearly, static analysis is better because it gives you that code level. Wait, we're dynamic analysis? Oh. What you really need is insight. into the running system so that you can find real-world exploitable vulnerabilities.
How can you believe a guy who can switch that fast?
How can you not believe a guy that can switch that fast?
So static analysis is useful when you can actually get access to code. Most security professionals that are running tests against these applications are running against production, sadly. And so there is no ability to get to code. And if you have no ability to get to code, then static is useless. And you only have dynamic as your option.
Yeah, okay. Who in the audience, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pander to you. I'm just going to make real life facts available to you. Who in the audience uses static code analysis? Yep, okay, great. Now, when those static analysis tools run, what is generated? Is it a PDF? How many people would say that? Usually you get a PDF or some sort of large document out of that static analysis tool. No takers on that one. Yeah, well, I don't know.
There's thread fix to solve that problem.
That's right. Okay. So I think that like what happens in the static analysis world is you run it and then like, a couple hours later, days later, you come back and it's like, oh, 400 pages. If you're lucky, PDF, right? And you're like, oh, that's going to be great to fix all that and look at it. And then you start going through the results and you're like, how much of this code is actually like in use or like linked in or, it's like, oh, this is just some random dependency we wrapped in that's not actually being called anywhere. So, it's really hard to make a positive case for static code analysis.
This is the boringest vendor pitch I've ever heard.
I feel like the last time James looked at a stack tool was like 2000. All right. You guys good? All right, time. Okay, affirmative team. You got 1 minute.
On the serious side, I've worked for a lot of security vendors, and I would say that about 10% of them actually know how to write good code, secure code. So as static analysis, you can actually run it and not get PDFs out of it. You can actually run it when you check code in and get warnings and errors out of it. So you actually train people to write better code with static analysis.
Yes. My fan.
I think as James said, you get a result back, but there's lots of other tools available, like ThreadFix, that will help you analyze that into the rest of your software development lifecycle and get it to your developers at a time that can fix it. And if you're a security person that's only scanning production, probably should look around and look for a new job because you know that you have to get earlier in the development lifecycle than that.
I'd just like to point out that James did admit that you get a result.
The question was more beneficial. Okay, you guys good? All right, cool.
So dynamic scanners can also pass data through ThreadFix. So ThreadFix does not make a tool better than another tool. It does make it better overall because ThreadFix is awesome, but it is not going to make the security results better. The security results still are lacking with your static analysis tool. You get a lot of nonsense issues reported to you that aren't security issues or that have other compensating controls in other parts of the code that they don't get view into. You're using static libraries they don't see, and they give you crappy results. Dynamic scanners actually see the running application, can actually interact with it, see what's happening, and actually find real vulnerabilities that are exploitable right out of its report that you can actually play with and see right away. And it can also plug into your CI as well. So I think it's just clearly more beneficial.
How have you all managed to make security and development sound so boring?
Yes. All right. By the way, the LASCON 2015 speed debates were sponsored by ThreadFix.
Wow.
All right. If you guys thought that the affirmative team won the debate, give it up. If you guys thought that the negative team won the debate, give it up. All right, we have a point for the affirmative. The score is now 3-3. They came back.
And y'all should have won. So yeah.
Hey, can I ask a question? Because I don't live in the application security world. How many people have heard of Swamp, the software assurance marketplace? And who has opinions about it? We should chat later.
So I can tell you that OWASP is actively working with Swamp in open sourcing the whole platform.
Cool. Thanks.
Cool. All right, position number 7. Open source applications are inherently more secure than closed source applications. You guys are the affirmative.
Can you just bring the bottles of Jack Daniels up and put them across the front here?
Yeah. All right. Oracle database is closed source. Postgres is not. IE, closed source. Chrome is not. Chromium, whatever. That was close. Flash, it's closed source. You see where this is going? Like, sure, there have been some examples where things haven't been great, but the closed source ones are generally far, far more awful. Like, is DB2 good? No. Just Postgres is the only database that isn't like riddled with ODE. Cool, come at me.
Open source applications are clearly more secure than others because the source is available for inspection and for testing. That's a dynamic and static, and that's a real high priority of everyone who's not bad guys. And it's a real high priority for people before anything is found to be breached. So clearly open source applications have the advantage.
Yeah, I got nothing.
IE is closed source. Firefox not. Let's see, what else did you say? Adobe? Let's just go back to that argument. I think that's a really strong one. So I just want to repeat the whole thing. You want to just say it again? We got a better accent.
Java? Does Java counts, right? Like, Windows, unless you pay a lot of money, is closed source. Linux, which is free of security problems, is open source. I'm biting the inside of my mouth. This is not the best position to argue. Git is open source. Perforce. I'm running. Docker. Docker's open source. Hyper-V is an AXW parson. Oh god. It was nice winning while we could.
All right, negative team.
Heartbleed. Shell shock.
Venom. Let's talk about KVM, the most popular hypervisor in the world. Currently, KVM is at 13,500,000 lines of code. That's a lot of code. If you look at the growth pattern of KVM over the last 15 years, it is linear. They throw nothing out. How much cruft is that? Oh, it's open source, by the way, because there are approximately, in the last year, 4,000 contributors. This is good. Yeah, I feel secure. How about you? Oh, Venom? Yeah. And, by the way, there are roughly 6,000 commits per month on KVM. That's an awful lot of change, and I don't know about you, but I'd love to see the processes that make that go and keep it secure. Yeah. I'm sorry?
Don't worry, it's secure cruft.
How many people have used an open source library in their career? Well, probably almost everyone. How many have used a library where it stopped being maintained because no one was updating it or doing anything with it, right? With closed source, you have a vendor, you've got someone who's incentivized to help maintain it.
All I can say is I've looked at every single line of source code in every open source package that I've ever used, period.
Hey man, Oracle 9i is unbreakable. Don't forget it.
Most of all, Jim B, be careful. This is not for the Jim B. This is just for you to chew on in case you're stressed.
They didn't have Jack Daniels?
No.
Okay.
We've made our case.
All right. Affirmative team.
How many people have used software by a company that's gone out of business? Oh, you're fucked. How many people, of those thousands of commits to KVM, how many can you look at? Oh, all of them. How many commits to VMware can you look at? Oh, fuck all again. How many commits to Hyper-V can you go and look at? Oh, the same 0 again. So you can actually go and look at these. I'm not saying people do, but you have the fucking option. Whereas with closed source, you don't. And when that company goes out of business, you are so screwed. Whereas if an open source thing is not maintained, you can maintain it, or you can pay someone else to maintain it. That is why open source is more secure, because it gives you the power to do these. People may not be doing them, but you have that option. With closed source, you do not.
All right, negative team.
IDA Pro.
TrueCrypt.
Would you guys raise your hand again if you were using one of those dead open source projects? Yeah, okay, now keep your hands up if you're maintaining them yourself or paying someone to do so. Yeah, reality check. Oh, it sucks to be you, doesn't it? Right on. Okay, so thanks for making our point for us there.
OpenSSL was one of the most commonly used frameworks, and after Heartbleed, a lot of companies stepped up to maintain it.
And the code is still shit.
All right. So if you thought that the affirmative team had the better argument, give it up. If you thought that the negative team had the better argument, give it up. All right. Point for the affirmative team. We have a score of 4-3 with one question left. One question left. Position number 8. Critical vulnerabilities should always be disclosed responsibly. You guys have the affirmative.
Use of the word responsible and the term disclosure is irresponsible. I'm sorry, I have to say it. As we internet enable and computerize more and more things with more and more common code, when you figure out a vulnerability in a toaster, that doesn't mean that vulnerability is not in a pacemaker. We have a responsibility. We talked about ethics before. We have a responsibility to disclose in a coordinated manner. I'm allergic to that word even on that side. To make sure that vendors have an opportunity to solve problems, that the end user has an opportunity to mitigate problems. We need to act like adults. Part of the reason that most of us don't get invited to Capitol Hill, besides our files, is that you know, we as a community aren't always responsible, and we need to be responsible.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of a loaded question because the word responsible is not exactly well defined here. So it really depends upon what we mean by that. But
I gave you a loaded question?
You did give us a loaded. It's amazing, isn't it?
No, it's not fair.
So, but here's the thing, though, is that particularly what you said, Jack, is that with the IoT, connected cars, pacemakers, insulin pumps, Nest, whatever it is, it can have a material effect on our physical safety. So we do have to give the vendors some opportunity and the users some opportunity to solve the problems before we actually release them to the general community. So, but I will say this: that responsible can also mean limited disclosure within the community, depending on who you disclose it to. So, again, to the point of definition.
All right. Negative team.
How many people were on the internet in the early 2000s? Yeah, a bunch of you. How many people remember gobbles? Exactly. That's why you don't want responsible disclosure, because that period was awesome. Dropping ODay on people, dropping spools, that was the best time on the internet. And we want that back. That's why responsible disclosure is bullshit. ODay every day.
If I find an O-Day, the only responsibility I have is to my pocketbook to find the best O-Day broker to sell it off to. That's opportunity and liberty. Freedom also.
This didn't work for us last time. I'm not sure we want to
Let's just go with team goggles.
Yeah, this whole responsibly thing just sounds like a way for people to delay disclosure until it doesn't matter anymore. And so I think we need to disclose quickly, not responsibly. We got to get things out there quickly so people can start dealing with it. Not this responsibly. That's legalese. That's Capitol Hill talk for let's hide it for 10 years.
It's like, I mean, by doing this, you're basically invoking more lawyers into your life. Like, who wants that? Right? No way.
All right.
As a non-security guy, I sort of see the word responsibly as immediately. If I have one of those pacemakers, the first thing I want to do is run away from my Wi-Fi. I don't want to count on the fact that somebody might not know about it, because the fact of the matter, maybe I should walk, yeah. Wow, that cracked me up. All right, so I want to know, because you know what? If that vulnerability is already known, I'm already at risk. I want to be able to manage my own risk, and I want to be able to do that at the right time. So maybe responsibility is immediately.
With the great power to find vulnerabilities, we have the responsibility to manage them responsibly.
And all I just want to point out that the other team now, on top of being socialists in Texas, are now anarchists as well.
Look at my hair.
And Bankup is apparently using the force, right? Okay. All right. Negative team.
It's interesting that you say immediately and you want to know, because when you tell a vendor, they sit in it for 6 months and you don't know. When you drop O-Day, other than LOLs, everyone finds out about it, and everyone is in their best position to work out how to defend it, rather than some black hats who will leak it and a vendor having it. Everyone has it, and then you are in a stronger position. So we just won that one, because, yeah. But we didn't, so we're good.
You guys good?
Drop O-Day.
All right. Dropping the OD. All right. So if you thought that the affirmative team won the debate, give it up.
Team Gobble.
If you thought that the negative team won the debate, give it up.
Bubbles.
One more time. Affirmative. Negative.
Bubbles.
I think that goes to the affirmative team.
We got a superhero right there.
What that means is that the speed debate's ending in a tie. So congratulations, guys. Thank you all for attending the speed debate. Go ride the bull, get some food. Thank you, guys.